Welcome back to the Wellness with Delaney podcast. I'm so excited because I have an awesome guest for you today. We have Blessed Holistic Life. This is Brianna. She's a non-toxic beauty and lifestyle influencer, as well as an actress and model. We are going to chat all things non-toxic living, beauty, and maybe even to get into some parasite cleansing for those of you who are interested. Welcome, Brianna.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for being on. I'm so excited to chat with you today.
Me
So, if
too.
you'd like to just give the audience a little bit of background on how you started your non toxic journey, we'd love to start there.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Okay, so hi, I'm Brianna, Blessed Holistic Life. I created this blog because during COVID, everyone did like the whole I'm gonna gain 15 pounds and we're at home, we don't care how we feel. And I have always had health issues and bloating and hormone problems. And I was just eating whatever I wanted. I lived in Vegas, I was drinking, I was doing everything. And during the lockdown, I was like, I'm going to do the opposite of what everyone else does. I was like, I'm going to use this time to get healthy and feel better. And so I kind of just started researching. And it's kind of weird how I went into the clean beauty and non toxic living because it started with parasites. And I don't know if you want me to jump into that already, but let me know.
Girl, go wherever you want to
Okay.
go. I am here to support you on
Okay.
your journey.
Perfect. So I just started looking at our foods and stuff and the ingredients on the back. And I was like, I don't know what seed oils are. I don't know what gums are. Hydrogenated. I had no idea. And it was just opening this whole new world. And I just started researching and went down the rabbit hole. And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like crap because I'm eating like crap. It was just one of those moments where you can't stop. And so I kind of threw everything out. I started just replacing everything, reading ingredient labels, and just kind of teaching myself. And then I take a little pic here and there and post it on Instagram and just share. And people kind of started following and they're like, hey, is this good? And I was like, oh, yeah, that is good. Thanks for sending me that. So I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. And then I lost a lot of weight. And then I was like, oh, I still feel bloated and gross. Oh, and then I went down the rabbit hole again and found out about parasites, and that blew my mind. I had 15 out of the 30 symptoms my whole life. I was in the doctors at age 6, not being able to go to the bathroom, diarrhea. I would go to the bathroom for 2 weeks, bad. And so I'm reading these symptoms and everything people think is normal. And I'm like, wait, I was told this is normal. And my doctor told me I could never fix this. Huh. So I found a cleanse and I was like, let me just try it. And for 2 weeks, I looked like I was pregnant. I was so bloated, massive headaches, and I never get headaches. I was just in pain. And at the end of the cleanse, I saw something in the toilet and I was like, what is that? Oh my gosh. And I remember just it I just felt better. I passed it and my bloat kind of went down and I just was addicted. I started doing parasite cleanses and I lost 20 pounds in 3 months. So I just started changing my lifestyle, eating better, eating parasitic anti foods, and just started killing them. And I've passed to this day, I still parasite cleanse 2 to 3 times a year because I saw some 20-year-old parasites. I was like, these came from childhood. I know about this. And they always say, if you have a pulse, you have a parasite. And other countries cleanse twice a year except the US. And you go to the doctors and they're like, sorry, here, just take that one thing that makes you go to the bathroom. I'm like, well, that doesn't do anything. Okay. And so yeah, I passed over 100, if not more, honestly. I'm still on my journey. I'm still getting rid of them. Whenever I start gaining weight or feeling depressed, I'm like, oh, I got a parasite because they cause anxiety, depression, and a ton of mental illness. And so that I just kind of started sharing that with the food, and people were like, wait, what? And so I just kind of started putting all this info out there, and I created a blog post and a Facebook group where we all share pictures of our parasites and help each other and help these tips. And it's almost it's somewhere in the thousand. I think I have 1,000 people, and I'm like, oh my god, just to watch it grow. And yeah, so many people have done a cleanse and they're like, oh my gosh, I lost 5 pounds that I couldn't get rid of. I just feel better, my bloat's down. And so with that, and the non-toxic living, then I was like, well, why do I have hormone problems? Because now I'm over the parasites. So what's going on? Then I went down the rabbit hole again and I started researching about makeup and beauty products and household, and fragrance can be up to 3,000 chemicals. And I'm like, huh? Like, no wonder why we all have thyroid problems or spraying perfume directly, like on our neck, on our thyroid. And I started doing makeup at 14 years old. I started my makeup business at 16 and then professionally at 18. And so, like, I was applying thousands of chemicals a day to myself, to my clients, and I was getting so sick. I was the first one to get sick, always like just would get a headache. Even while I'm doing makeup, I'm like, oh, I got a little headache. I wonder what that is. I'm probably allergic to something. No, you're allergic to everything you're using, and just dousing myself in chemicals. And when I came across just some Instagram posts and I'm like, wait, hold on. So I've been putting chemicals on my body for years now and then eating like crap and wondering why I feel like crap. So I started researching ingredients, learning about them, and then slowly kind of like replacing things. Okay, that's a lie. I did not do it slowly. I did it overnight. I completely threw everything out and like replaced it, which do not recommend because you don't know what's good and you don't know what's going to look like work for you. And that's why I also created my page, because I went and bought everything under the sun, everything that was non toxic, clean, without the chemicals. I was like, let me try. And so I bought everything. And then I was like, this is okay. The conventional is better. And then I kind of just started sharing and replacing all that makeup. I started to like put on non toxic makeup and I started looking better. My skin improved, my health improved. I can't even smell a candle or conventional perfume without getting a migraine. Like, I just cannot inhale it. And then I went to cleaning products and I went to body care and even razors. Like, it just everything. I was like, okay, what is not toxic? And so that's why I created Blessed Holistic Life, to kind of just give everyone a swap that works, not just one that I get a commission on, not one that they sell at Whole Foods that's like still toxic, one that actually works and is high performing.
I love that. And, I think it's so common where with natural beauty products, a lot of them are either A, actually not natural,
Yeah.
or B, don't work well. So the fact that you help people find what works well and is natural and non toxic is such a game changer. It can be really hard to find that. And especially for people who don't
Yeah.
have the bandwidth to research and to think about that all the time, you do really make it easy for them. And I love kind of how you said, like, you thought all these symptoms you had of parasites were normal and doctors told
Mhm.
you normal, and people do typically tend to accept things that are unhealthy as normal. And I was just listening to this podcast that was saying, like, okay, so if wellness is the opposite of disease, what is disease? It's dis-ease. So, I
Yes.
mean, disease isn't just these big ticket name sicknesses, it's the lack of ease in our life. So why are we accepting not feeling good as a normal human experience when our bodies are so intelligent? We're meant to feel good. We're meant to be in tune with our bodies. So there's
Yeah.
definitely, I feel like, a disconnect. And I love that you do help people create that connect again and like connect with their bodies and be able to feel better through non-toxic living and through parasite cleansing. But yeah, so just to kind of get into the meat of it, I
Yeah.
know there are like so many ingredients and you're such an expert on all of them, but can you name just a couple of the big common toxic ingredients that you see in most beauty and self-care products?
Oh my gosh. Okay, fragrance. Number one, if it has fragrance, unless it's natural, unless they disclose it, please throw it away. That can be up to 3,000 chemicals. So companies will make a natural product and then at the end they'll put fragrance, and they're hiding all of these ingredients that it could be. It could be synthetics, it could be preservatives. Like, you have no idea. And so that's like number one. Number two is talc. That is like the biggest thing in the beauty world. Like, they just, I think it was Givenchy, just came out with a talc free powder. And TikTok is mad about it. They're like, it's not as good. They put like silica in it. Like, I don't like it. Like, bring back the talc. And I'm like, for you, like, that kills you. And you are like applying it to your face and inhaling it. I'm like, no, you can't. So that there's like I want to say it's like this, like, I can't think of of course I can't think of the name right now, but it's this like black dye, in eyeliners and mascaras that is like super toxic, and it's in like L'Oreal and Maybelline. And I'm like, that is getting into your system. And our body is our largest organ. So anything you put on it, your body's like, cool, let me just absorb this. And I like what you said about like our body is supposed to feel good and you're supposed to be in tune with it. I was never in tune with my body. If I got sick or if I ate something, I was like, what is that? Like now I can smell something, I can take a bite of something, and my body is like, no, like signals, like we're done. And so I think it's really cool because I know you have a similar experience where you can see and feel the difference of like just completely transitioning to a healthier lifestyle, just how you feel better. So those are some BHT. There's so many that like it's crazy. Like I have this app that you scan it and it'll flag them. So it'll be like, sorry, this has talc in it. This has perfume. This has fragrance. This is BHT. This is like red, black, 40, like all these preservatives, phenoxyethanol. And yeah, it's insane because the things you think that are green labeled, that are green washed and said that are natural, are sadly not. And so it's companies like small businesses that actually care and know that are making a difference. And I really do believe, though, I will say that we are coming such a long way. Like I know you work with a ton of brands as well, and people are waking up. Like the fact that even I want to say, I can't think of their name because now I'm like not in Sephora like conventional because I don't buy any of their stuff. Um, Laura Mercier, they came out with a talc-free powder. And it's like, thank you, but like this should have been the standard. So we are waking up, we are doing something. So we just have to keep on researching and getting those toxins out of our life because these companies, they're seeing a decline of sales and they see people waking up. So we just have to continue to press on. I feel
That's
like I
so
just
true.
answered like 5 questions.
No, I love it. Answer all the questions. No, that is so true. I mean, it's all about supply and demand. So if
Yes.
people are demanding cleaner products, then the supply is going to be cleaner. And so it does come down, the power really is in the hands of the consumer. And we
Hmm.
are the people that get to vote with our dollars. What we buy is what people are going to, or what brands are going to want to put out there.
Yep.
So that's such a good point. I love that so much. Do you know the name of the app just to plug for the audience?
Yes. Oh, of course. It's called Switch Natural. She is amazing. I can send you the link. I am one of her affiliates. She's amazing. You download it. It's a one-time $20. It's independently owned. So can't be bought out like Think Dirty. There's no recommended products. She has a whole catalog, as well as do I, of products that are clean and non-toxic. And it's almost like a dictionary. So you scan something, it pops up, and it'll bring you to the reviews and the studies of why it's toxic. It's amazing.
That is so amazing. Yeah, everyone go check it out for sure. Okay, so kind of moving along, do you have any recommendations for people who maybe now are using conventional everything and want to switch over to non-toxic but are overwhelmed on just how to do that?
Yeah, don't do what I did and throw away everything overnight. It's not going to work. So I always say replace as you go. So when you are using a powder and it's empty, find a non toxic replacement. That way it takes the stress out. You're able to research more and see what works for you instead of just buying all this stuff that maybe doesn't go with your skin type. Right.
So, for the girl who wants to start, or even the guy who wants to start a more non-toxic journey, what are some of your favorite brands right now?
Oh, that's such a good question. It's like my favorite question too. So I love Beauty Care Naturals. They are a small woman owned business. They have the best felt tip liner, the only non toxic liquid one I can find. It's so good. I do a cat eye every day with it. I also love the Good Mineral. It's an acne. I know you know the Good Mineral, an acne
Yeah.
safe powder foundation. She's lovely. I am so close with the owner, so I love her. Air Perez is a great one. She has great lip pencils. She has good eye pencils. I put some bronze on. Lauren Brook Cosmetics, near and dear to my heart. I work with them, and they are just fabulous. Woman owned in Utah, made in the US. She makes everything in house. And I helped create a contour stick with her. She does blush stick, she does lip glazes, eyeshadows are great, so I love them. Some bigger name brands that are clean. I wouldn't call them fully clean, but I definitely would look out for them in Sephora, in Ulta, like in stores. Would be Ilia. They have the best mascara. I cannot find a clean mascara that's as good as them. $28. I can't give it up. Like I just love it. Tower 28 Beauty is a new favorite of mine. I've been using their concealer as a foundation and I am loving it. I'm an oily girl and it's so good. Kosa's is really good too. I love their pressed powder. That's another favorite of mine. And yeah, those are the brands that I would personally recommend to start with.
Awesome. And I love that you recommended some smaller brands that might be more niche and like super green, as well as some bigger name brands that are maybe a little less clean, but obviously a lot better than the conventional makeups out there. So that kind of leads into, I know you talk a lot about like an 80-20 lifestyle. Can you elaborate on that and just kind of explain how you live an 80-20 lifestyle to optimize your health in a sustainable way?
Totally. So I think it's really important to just kind of what you said before is like just kind of get down and just reduce your toxic load. We can never be 100% toxic free. I wish. Like, we just can't. We're going to walk through the laundry aisle. Someone's going to wear perfume. We're going to accidentally wash our hands with like bad soap. So it's
Mhm.
inevitable. But when you live an 80-20 lifestyle, it reduces that stress. I know that when I first started, I went psychotic. Like, I was bringing things with me on trips. Like, I was losing my mind, to be completely honest. Like I was trying to be 100% toxic free. And honestly, that was more toxic than the products. The stress that put on my body, it was bad, like full psychosis. But anyway, so I adopted the 80-20, which to me is more like a 90-10. But I give myself the space in my everyday life. It's what I consume most. So am I eating the best foods? Am I putting non toxic things on my body every day? Yes. But if there's a special occasion, if I go on vacation, I am going to relax and enjoy. So I am going to get a toxic spray tan. I am going to go get my nails done, even though I did find a non toxic gel polish, which I'm loving. Obviously, I'm still using gel. That's something I don't do every day. And you know what? Let me go have a margarita. You know what? Let me have some gluten. I'm gluten free, but like once in a while, it's not going to hurt. And so I had to adopt that lifestyle because it just helped my mental health. And honestly, I can feel the difference in my body. And I kind of love it because I'm like, okay, time to get back on track. But you know what? I had fun. I enjoyed myself. And yeah, a lot of people in this business do it because I think when you first start, we all think that we have to be perfect. And you just can't. Like, there's no way.
Yeah, that's so true. You walk out the door and you're hit with toxins. So it can be crazy, crazy. And I love that because really, if you're doing all the right things, but you're still stressed all the time because you're trying to
Yeah.
be perfect, you're keeping your body in fight or flight. And so
Yes.
that is going to kill your immune system. That's going to wreck your body. I mean, stress, high cortisol for a prolonged period of time is not something that we want. So it's really
Mhm.
important to be able to relax. And I love that you can kind of find that balance. And then there's also that component like if you are in a state of preventing too many toxins in your body and your body's able to detox properly because it's not overloaded, you
Mhm.
can detox some of those things you're coming across. It's going to be a lot
Yeah.
easier to detox the gluten, the sugar, the any synthetics that you might occasionally use if you're not overloading your system with them every single day from morning to night. So I love your approach and I love how you're honest about that. I think it's pretty common for us to see influencers and content creators
Mhm.
who preach this perfect life, who have this, 100% perfect habits, and then meanwhile, most of them like don't even get a period. So
Yeah,
they're,
exactly. No, I
yeah,
100% agree. They're like, "Oh, no toxins," and then, like, they're just at the bar every night, or they're, like, getting spray tans 24/7, and it's like
mhm,
they'll be like, "Oh, I love my non-toxic lip liner," and they're putting L'Oreal Revlon on. Like, I've
yeah,
found people like that, I'm just like, "You know what? It's hard," but you really just have to research for yourself and know who you're following. That's number
yes.
1. Just because they have 100K followers does not mean they're honest.
Very true. It can be very hard to find people who genuinely care about your best interests. That's something I feel like you do really well, and I love that. You are very honest
Thank
with
you.
your audience. You don't put up a front. You don't even, I mean, if you're I love that when you have a breakout or something that maybe is not like the prettiest side of life, you share it, and I think that just keeps it so real, and it's such a good reminder to people that social media is so fake and glossy, and it's important to surround yourself with a community of people who don't pretend everything's perfect because then that'll put that expectation on you. So that is
Exactly.
something I really, really love that you do. So kind
Thank
of
you.
along this vein, beauty can be a topic that some people have different, I guess, different relationships with. It can be a
Mhm.
really empowering, amazing thing where it's like an act of self love and self respect, or it can be a thing out of self insecurity where people feel like they have to apply makeup, they have to do all these things in order to be valuable. So, how do you keep beauty as like a mentally positive thing and just approach it in a way that is good for you internally?
Yeah, thank you for that, by the way. So it kind of goes back to childhood. I started with makeup as kind of like a way to like mask my emotions and like kind of change how I was feeling. I was like, oh, I'm depressed. I'm gonna throw on some makeup and pretend everything's okay. And so, kind of growing up with that in the back of my head and reading those magazines and seeing all these supermodels when Victoria's Secret was huge, and like, like as a kid, you're like, oh, cool. Like I'm breaking out. Like, all right. And then also coming from the side where my family really focused on looks. Like my grandmother would yell at me if I left the house without makeup. Like she'd be like, "Where are you going? Like, why don't you just put some makeup on?" And so like it was very it kind of came like a safety blanket for me. And so I want to say that it took until I was like 23 to kind of fully love myself the way God wanted me to. And this page actually really helped me because I was able to come on here with my acne prone, oily skin, sometimes forgetting to shave my mustache and being like, oh, cool. Like just getting on and being like, hey guys, like this is real. Like, yes, I'm doing like a paid partnership, but I'm still breaking out. Like, I'm not going to pretend to be something I'm not. And so, kind of just looking at myself on camera with no makeup, applying skincare kind of taught me how to love myself again and kind of just taught me that I'm okay with who I am and that I can use makeup to be creative and just kind of like how I love it. Cause I'll always love makeup. I'll always love a full glam. I created my page because I wasn't the natural non toxic makeup type. I was the full glam, let me find a non toxic self tanner kind of girl. And I was like, I know other people are there. Like, I know people dye their hair blonde like me. So that's why I created the page. But it really did. It taught me how to love myself again. And then seeing the difference that clean beauty and clean skincare and just kind of this whole lifestyle made on my skin and how it improved and how I felt better, like it just taught me to love myself. And even this is totally off topic, but even just cleaning up my body and my temple, like I was able to find Jesus because of it and connect back with God. And so, yeah, I just always, it's funny because 5 years ago, I would have never left my house without makeup. Like there was no way. No. Like my grandmother was in my head, like, I have to put something on. You never know who you're going to meet, all of that crap. And now I can walk out without makeup and not feel insecure at all and know that I am the way that God made me. I'm happy. I love myself. And I just don't care what anyone else thinks.
I love that. And I hope so many other women and girls can hear that message and realize that you don't have to do all these things to be worthy.
Hmm.
You absolutely can glam yourself up. You can do all these things. You can take care of your body, but it's got to come from a place of self-love. It can't come from this like worthless mentality because
Yeah.
we are all created in God's image, and us adorning ourselves can be a celebration, an act of
Hmm.
love and gratitude rather than this like thing that we have to do if we want to compete in society, which society can be so competitive. It can be really
Oh, yeah.
hard to develop a positive self-image. I mean, even now I see girls as young as 20 years old getting, treatments done and procedures for
Yeah.
anti-aging and beauty, and I'm like, when I was 20 years old, I didn't even think about those things.
I know. And then
It's
they're like, oh, it's preventative. And I'm like,
mhm.
no, it's not. Like,
Yeah,
no.
it's really not. But what are your thoughts on Botox and filler?
So for me, just to be transparent, like I do get lip filler. Like I grew up with no lips. Like my mom was like, when you get older, you can get like your lips done. I was like, I'm 10, but okay, thanks, mom. Like, all right. Because she had big, beautiful lips. My sister did. They were all blonde. I was like the brown haired, like pale child. They're like, you're Italian? I'm like, yeah, no lips. So kind of like created along the lines of going into beauty, kind of just like, oh, I'll just overline and fix this and feel better. And so I do get lip filler. I do get a non synthetic, or no, I get a synthetic hyaluronic acid. So It's something that our body makes. It is a synthetic version, but my thing is I'd rather get that than a neurotoxin. Like, I'm not going anywhere near Botox. I will get lasers, I will get peels, I will get a hydrofacial. The neurotoxin scares the crap out of me. Like you said, this preventative at 20 years old getting it is crazy to me. We are meant to age like it's going to happen. Like, you can take care of yourself, like gua sha. Like, I've noticed a huge difference in my skin and my wrinkles from gua shaing and bee venom. Like, there are other things you can do. You can tape your face, you can use frownies, like so many things. And so, but there's not a lot of things you can do for your lips. So I'm like, okay, would I rather get 10 sessions of lip lace, which is like it's crazy. It's like this like laser that apparently makes your lips bigger, but you need so many sessions. Or would I rather just go in with this quick filler? And so I do that because it's something that I like. It's something I started before my clean beauty journey. So I'm already like into it. And so I tell my followers that I work with a med spa, I get my lips done, but I don't touch the other stuff just because I've seen people with like crazy side effects and with eyes and stuff, and it freaks me out. And so I just do it for me because I like it. And I overline. So I'm still gonna do it. And it's so funny because my body literally metabolizes and detoxes it so fast. Like, it's like, oh yeah, you got your lips done? Just kidding. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, so it's like my body's just getting rid of it anyway.
I love that because your liver's functioning, your
Yeah.
detox is functioning, and yeah, you're right. I mean, that neurotoxin is so scary, and
So scary.
there are so many things we can do now, but I mean, people just do not even realize that Botox is a neurotoxin. I mean, it's literally
No,
made from bacteria and causes muscle
exactly.
paralysis. Like, it's kind of gruesome
Oh,
to me.
it's frightening. Like, it is terrifying. Like, I've seen people like lose vision. I've seen people with like their eyes looking like crazy and not being able to blink. Like, it's scary. And you're putting
Mhm.
that right into your bloodstream. And people are getting 30 to 50 units per session every 3 to 6 months. Like your liver, like your body, like that is going straight to your brain. And so, yeah, for
Mhm.
me, I'm just going to pass. I feel like they're going to come out with something that's going to laser it off and I'll be good.
Very true, yeah, and I love the transparency too, and I think this is a great reminder that 80-20 or 90-10 can look different for everyone. You kinda choose your battles, you choose what's
Yeah.
important to you. So, for one person, maybe there's a different level, maybe they are having a hard time switching to, non-toxic clothing, let's
Yeah.
say, and they choose to be a lot cleaner in other areas of life, and it might look different to somebody else. Somebody else might be like, "I'm gonna wear all organic clothing, but I'm gonna get lip filler." Like, it doesn't have
Yeah.
to be one size fits all. We are all different people with different circumstances
Mm-mm.
and different goals. So you
Yeah.
really do choose what works for you, and that is okay. And I love that you do empower people to think critically, make their decision, no judgment, with full transparency. And that is just how I wish all influencers were, because we do not see that all the
Ugh.
time.
You don't. They get on there and they like bash it. And like, to me, like that is so toxic. Like, you follow this influencer who's like, I will never get Botox, blah, 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 blah. That is a neurotoxin and this is this. And yeah, same. I won't either. But if my friend wants to do it, I'm not going to be like, you freaking toxic. Like, no, like, what's that going to do? It's going to fuel them to get more. Like, but if you influence and you share your life, people are going to change and like listen more without you shoving it down their throat. Like, I've seen influencers be like, I don't do this, I don't do that. But also, like, have you seen my new like waterless skincare? And I was just like, oh my God. I'm like, you're bashing someone so you can get a sale. Like, ew.
Yeah,
So
definitely. Yeah, we
a
see that a lot.
lot.
People definitely do want to make a dollar, and sometimes they prioritize that over just doing good. And I think the best thing you can do is do good for people, and the money will come. If people see
Yes.
you're genuine, it will come. Okay, kind of shifting gears, I would
Yeah.
love to circle back to the parasites. I am
Yeah.
very intrigued by them. So let's say somebody is curious, like they think they might be struggling with like a lot of parasites, and they don't know where to start. They don't know what cleanses to do or where to look. Like, what would you say to somebody?
So I would send them my blog because I went into it blind. Like, I grabbed the first parasite cleanse that I saw, and I was like, let me just try it. And there is such a big problem with that because if your toxic load is up here and you have not changed your diet, you have not increased your water, you take these herbs and it is going to like create a toxic shock in your body and you're going to feel 100 times worse. And that's what happened to me. I took too many herbs and without changing anything I was eating, still eating gluten. So I felt like crap. I didn't know why I was cleansing. And I think that's like a big thing too. Like with my blog, it spells it out for you. It's like, hey, okay, you need to eat whole foods. You need to get rid of sugar. You need to get rid of gluten. Like 2 weeks before, kind of just start your lymphatic system. Oh, that too. You have to make sure that your lymphatic system is moving. You have to make sure you're going to the bathroom. And people don't know that. So they jump in, they do a cleanse, they get constipated, and they feel like crap. And they're like, this doesn't work. And it's like, okay, because you're literally eating and drinking sugar every night. You're not going to the bathroom. You're not sweating out your toxins. So definitely that. Like you need to start slow, kind of get your body, get your toxic load down, then introduce it. But you also need to find the right cleanse. And that's why I did like a ton of research. I've done so many cleanses. It's insane. And I found a cleanse that worked for me. I don't know if you're familiar with Zuma.
Mhm.
Yeah. So they have a great cleanse. So you can go for beginner to advanced, like in just one bottle. Like I feel like it's very effective, but it's not like hit you with herbs. Like, yes, it doesn't taste good, but it's not like too strong. Whereas another one that I did was just too much. And so I share that in my blog as well. I have a discount code with them. It's a 2-part thing. And then all these tips to like sauna, dry brush, and just kind of create your lymphatic system moving so your parasites can get out. And then if you want to go and detox more, add in castor oil packs, add in coffee enemas, and then, yeah, and then join my group.
Amazing. Yeah, join your group. I was literally going to ask you about the enemas. I know you share a
Mm.
lot about them. Have they been a really effective tool for you in the cleansing?
Oh my goodness. Coffee enemas, I will say, have probably saved my life. I know the damage I did to my body as a child. The way, like, we were the typical McDonald's family. We had Papa John's for dinner, Dunkin' Donuts for breakfast, McDonald's for lunch. Like, no veggie. I was eating pork. I was eating shellfish. When I like think back, like, to yeah, mom, I'm sick, yeah, I'm going to the doctors, like look at what you're feeding me, like, and the doctor would be like, just drink prune juice. Okay, but like what's the root cause of this, like, and I remember they did a scan, and this is so gross, but they did a scan of my stomach and they were like, oh, you have like a ball of poop and that's why you can't go to the bathroom. Take some prune juice and get rid of it. Looking back, that was 100% a ball of parasites. I know for a fact, like, I've seen them, they're gross, but I feel so much better. And so I think with that, oh my gosh, now I don't even know what the question was.
Okay, we were
Forget
talking
what
about
was happening.
enemas.
Oh my gosh, enemas. Okay, so with that, when you're going to the bathroom, you're making you have to go to the bathroom. But if you're cleansing, sometimes they're pissed. They give you headaches. You just feel the toxins coming out, and your like liver's going crazy. You're fatigued. You're like, I can't go to the bathroom. So the coffee enemas, it boosts your glutathione, so it helps your liver detox, but it also gets rid of like your stones. It gets rid of the eggs and the parasites. So the coffee goes up there and it kills it all. So I've literally done it and it's disgusting. You put the coffee up there, you hold it for like 15 minutes. I do in the shower. I'm like, whatever, get up there. And then your body's like, time to go. Then you go release and you can see like the parasites coming out. You can see, I've seen so many parasite eggs that I am like, that wouldn't have come out unless I used an enema to get it out. My bloat went down and you get this like rush of energy. You're like, oh my God, I feel good. Cause your liver's like, woohoo. Like it just, you can see the liver and the bile come out in the toilet. I've seen, so liver flukes are a type of parasite. It looks like tomato skins. So they're like, yeah. So if you've ever had like red triangles or like little red pieces or orange in your stool, and you're like, what is that? You have a liver fluke. And so if it's detoxing your liver and detoxing your stomach, it's flushing it out. So like, I think I just did. Do you want the tea on my story or no?
Obviously, yes.
Okay. I did one today and I got a ton of eggs out and a ton of liver flukes out. And my headache was gone because like I can feel them. Like when they're fighting against the coffee enema, you're like getting symptoms and you're like getting headaches and you're like, what is this? And so, yeah, I got rid of them. And so to me, it's been essential because I just get so bloated and I'm like, I know that they're in there. Like I can feel them fighting for their life. Like we're just, you gotta go. So and it helps you lose weight. I feel like it just like raises your metabolism and like you lose like a quick like 3 to 5 pounds. And I'm like, okay. And it's so funny too because people always say like you have 10 to 20 pounds of stool in you at like almost all times. And you're like, no, I don't. Do one enema. You're going to the bathroom like 6 times in a row. Like, tell me you don't like tell me I just didn't poop out 10 pounds. Like it's
Wow.
insane how large our intestines are.
Wow. Yeah, they are crazy long. Okay, so how often do you do enemas?
So I currently, when I'm cleansing, I do them every day just because I know my body and I'm not like the typical parasite person. Like I am like the one that's like, this might even be like an autoimmune disease kind of thing. Like, so I am just attacking them head on. But people do them like once a week. Sometimes people just do them during the full moon. Some people do them twice a day. I just do one. And sometimes I'll even do like a chlorophyll enema where I just do distilled water and chlorophyll.
Amazing. Okay, yeah, I need to try this because I got a colonic once in my life with a
Ah!
coffee enema at the end, and it was the most it was and I think it was 'cause my first one, and they said, like, it was hydrating my liver, I think, because it
Mm.
was the most painful, like, horrible experience, and I know other people don't have this experience, so
Yeah.
but I was like it was the worst cramping I've ever felt. I think, though,
Mm.
there was part of it that because there was a provider in the room, I was, having a hard time, like, relaxing. I was like, "This is so invasive."
Oh, it's a lot.
Yeah, I was like, "I need to do this alone in a dark room, like, with some candles," 'cause
Yeah.
I'm like, "Healing frequencies? I don't know. Like, this
Yeah.
is not good. There's another
Oh,
person in here." But, yeah, I need to try it
oh.
again. I'll try it your way because it sounds amazing, and I know it's amazing, and just the only time I've done it, I was truly just, like, struggling. I'd never met this woman in my life. I mean,
Oh.
she's seeing all sides of me. So we were gonna
You're
try that
like
again.
you're like, "I am not close to you." You're like, "I have no idea who
No.
you are, lady." So, oh, that's the worst. And probably your body wasn't, like, even prepped. Like,
No.
not that you have to prep your body, but when you go in, like, not knowing what's going on. So they gave you the colonic and then gave you a coffee enema too?
Yeah, at the end, there's, like, an enema.
Wow.
It was intense, but yeah, I didn't know it was a last minute
That's a
thing.
lot for, like, a first person.
It
Like,
was
and I
an
know oh, like, that's a lot. Like, I've even had the cramps during the colonic and because 'cause I've done colonics a couple times, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, like, you need to pull the lever, like, I'm gonna, like, crap all over the bed, like, you
Yep.
need to, like, get it out." It hurts. It doesn't hurt. Let me take that back. Your body is like, "What is going on?" And you're cramping because you're moving things, and then you,
Yep.
like, flush and that get that release, and you're like, "Oh, okay." But to have, like, a coffee enema, like, immediately after, I could never. No.
It
That's
was
too
intense.
much.
It was
Yeah,
a
no.
marathon. I mean, it worked, I think. I felt
Yeah,
great
yeah.
after, but, in the moment, I was like, "This is insane." I wasn't prepared because my mom literally was like, "Hey, do you wanna go get colonics today?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
try anything." But
Oh gosh.
it was an experience for sure. But I think that also is like sometimes you guys, when it comes to wellness, there are things that are not comfortable or that don't taste
Yes.
good. Sometimes you just have to get through a moment of discomfort to feel a lot better later on versus like
Yeah.
living in chronic low level discomfort. So there is
Yeah.
that component. Like sometimes things aren't pleasant, but they're worth it if you feel so much better later on.
Exactly. Like my parasite cleanse, I'm not gonna lie, it tastes like crap. Like it's disgusting. But what do? You put in grapefruit juice and it masks the taste. And I know that after these couple weeks, months on it, I'm gonna feel better. And so yeah, you sometimes have to just like suck it up. Like I did a sauna yesterday. I haven't done sauna in forever. And I hit 30 minutes. I got out. I was like, I'm dying. Like I'm going to pass out. But I know I'm gonna feel better. So and I did. You just kind of gotta like get through it and then just kind of think of your goal and where you want to be. Like, do you want to feel better or do you want to complain and not do anything about it? Because firsthand, that's what I did. I complained for years. I was like, oh my God, I'm overweight, I'm this and that. Like, yeah, but you're not doing anything. So you got to pick your battles.
Very true. You kind of have to choose your hard. You're either going to struggle doing something that's hard that's good for you, or you're going to
Hmm.
struggle not doing those things, but in other areas of your life. And that is just That is life. But you guys are all getting
Exactly.
the real scoop here. I don't know if anyone's listening to this like first thing in the morning, just learning all about parasites and poop and enemas. And for that, you're welcome.
They're
I'm
like,
sorry.
"Oh," you're like, "This is a good way to start my day?"
Yeah,
It's like,
I
"Yes,
mean,
yes, it is."
everybody poops, and if you don't, you need to. So,
Yeah, you need to 1 to 3 times a day or you're very constipated.
very, very true. Okay, so moving into a different direction, I would love to ask. So, something that I love about your story and your page is you kind of share your spiritual journey a lot, and just how you shifted from a new age mindset to a Christian faith. And I would just love if you could give a little bit of background on your spiritual journey and how you became where you are today.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I love this question. So, growing up, we were in the church a lot. My grandfather, my papa, he was Catholic. My mo was a Christian, but she went to some, like, I'll be honest, like some crazy churches, like really out there. And there was a lot of spiritual trauma around that in my family and with my mom. So we kind of like, I would go to like an Easter Sunday and we dress all up, but then like I would like see like what happened on the cross, but I wouldn't understand it. Like I didn't know who Jesus was. Like no one like sat me down and was like, this is who Jesus is. Like I was like, oh, I believe in God, but I had like no idea. And my sorry, Mo, like my grandmother was very like hand on the Bible, like if I'm lying, God strike me dead. Like while she's lying. So it was very like there was a lot of just religious trauma and manipulation. And so my mom grew up with that. And so she was like, I don't want anything to do with this. I need to go find my own way. And so she was trying to heal herself in her childhood without the word of God and without like conventional therapy. So she went to like new age therapy, which literally takes advantage of your traumas. So I'm like 6 years old listening to like Wayne Dyer, like Louise Hayes, like just kind of like it's programming me. And then my mom's doing my birth chart at 10 years old. And my Mo, even though she's a Christian, is talking about how I'm a Scorpio, like all of these things. And so it's very weird. And then we believed in ghosts and this, and I would see things when I was younger and like, oh, I have gifts and I'd have prophetic dreams. And so it was very confusing. And so in my house, we just grew up like that. Like we talked about new age spirituality all the time. And so when I was 18, I kind of had, I just always was like, oh, I believe in God. And then when I moved back to Florida, I had this like big kind of like premonition happen. And I was like, and it was just like the enemy's way of like making sure I followed this path. And that's what I did. And I'd always call myself like psychic and I just knew and all these things. And then something big happened. And then one time I went into this crystal shop to get energy work done. And then I met this person and this. And it was like so crazy because the enemy will literally line your path directly to him if you are not careful. You listen to one thing, you do one thing, you take a step, an inch, and he will like make it a mile so quick. Like you'll have no idea what's happening until you're there. And that's what happened to me. I showed one interest in energy work, and before I knew it, I was in a class the next week getting my Reiki 1 and 2 certification on my way to become a Reiki master. All of a sudden, feeling energy everywhere in my body, having dreams, feeling spirits, like that kind of stuff. And so that's what happened to me. And I started doing Reiki, started doing energy work, started just funny to talk about now. Started doing like astrology and like animals and like uh angel cards, which is like literally tarot. And my mom got into it. She became a shaman. Like we were just like right there with the enemy, just hanging out. But the messed up part was we thought we were still Christian because we still called ourselves Christian. We took pieces of the Bible and turned it to fit what we were doing. So I was a Reiki master. I was a prophetess. Like, what? And my mom was flipping scripture. We're manifesting things. I'm getting money. We're doing this. She's doing whatever shaman crap. She like took it to a whole nother level. I was like, okay. But then at the same time, I'm talking to deceased ones or that I think are loved ones who are dead. Like, no, I'm talking to demons. And so I can laugh about it now. But so during COVID is when I felt that God told me and my mom, we have these gifts, we need to share them with everyone. We need to start doing energy work. And so I started my business called Self and Love. And so Blessed Holistic Life used to be Self and Love. Like you can just see the difference in the names. And so yeah, I started doing energy work. I'm doing it over Zoom. I could like you could jump on, I could look at you and I could feel things. I could say if any like demonic attachments were on you, if you need to do this, if you like this person, like I just and all throughout my body. I'm like, "Oh, you have mom trauma, you have dad trauma, you have sexual trauma." I could feel everything. And then I would pray and Palo Santo and be like, "Thank you, God." Like I was really trying to combine the two. Like it was really bad, but also taking money for it, pulling angel cards. And it all looked like light and love and self and love and happiness. But what people don't know is like behind closed doors, I was struggling. I was drinking every night. I was smoking weed every night. I couldn't go to sleep until 4 in the morning. I wouldn't wake up till 4 in the afternoon. I would wake up with tremendous amounts of pain, like someone like beat me up. I'd have the worst demonic sexual dreams ever, or just know that something was in the corner watching me. Like I could just feel everything all the time. And it was scary. And I would get spiritual attacks. Like I would literally have things like grab at me. And I'd be like, they're just mad because I'm getting rid of them. No, they're not. They're coming because you called them. Like, what do you mean? And so you think that like after like 5 demonic attacks and like pretty much like exorcisms, I would be like, oh, I'm done. No, I wasn't. Like I still continued and I would just keep on adding things. Like I'd get like this energy frequency and like bing and like move things and then like that night get attacked and I couldn't put two and two together. And so um I met one of my best friends. She was a client. She came up to me, reached out on Instagram. I started doing energy work on her. She was like my first testimonial and we would just do all these things and she'd call me and she's like, oh my God, I like listened to the frequencies you sent me and I did this and I went to this meditation and I like levitated and like all these things. And I'm like, oh my God, that's beautiful. Like whatever. Like, no, it's not. And so she had a Christian friend kind of talking to her, being like, hey, like, I know Brianna says she loves God. Like, have you talked to her about Jesus? Like, does she even know who Jesus is? Like, you should be careful with this stuff. And so her name's Sarah. And she was like, oh, okay. So she had like two sides, like just going at her. And we continued to work together. And then one day she came over and I did a whole session on her, Reiki. It was beautiful. And at the end of it, she heard a demon laugh. And I didn't hear it. And she was like, did you hear that? And I was like, no. She's like, I gotta go. And I was like, okay. I was like, see you later. And then like the next day, me like the next week, she like came in and she was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to church. And she had like a Bible in her hand, and I had so much religious trauma. And I was like, huh, yeah, like I was so uncomfortable. Like my demons were like, like freaking out. And she just like was kind of like, yeah, I'm going to church. Like, do you want to come with? Like, she never told me what I was doing was wrong. Like, she was like working her way there. And then she invited me to church one night. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to go. And so I had gone to a client's house. I had done Reiki. I like all these things kind of came in and I like had such a good session. I got paid. I got a coffee and I was like, okay, like going home, changing, and I'll meet you at the church. Tell me how I walk into my house and immediately get so spiritually attacked. I have a full on mental breakdown. Like the enemy was like, you're not getting saved. You're not going to church. Because he knew if I went, I would get saved and I'd give my life to Christ. I got hit so hard, like just hysterically crying, panic attack, like could not move. And I texted her and I was like, I'm so sorry, like I can't come, blah, blah. And I like jumped in a salt bath to like cleanse my bad energy. And she was like, oh no, girl, it's okay. And I like called my mom and I was like, what's going on? And all this stuff. And after that, we didn't really talk. And I was like, I could just feel something. I was like, what? Like, why is she distancing herself from me? What's going on? And so I reached out. I was like, hey, like, can you do like a testimonial for my business? Like, I started getting so many clients. And she writes back this like long thing of like, Brianna, I know you say you love God. I don't think you know Jesus. You have not read your Bible. This is in like Deuteronomy or something, like, this is not what you think it is. Like, this is the enemy. Like, your gifts are not gifts. Like, this is, I've had spiritual attacks because of the work you've done on me, like all this stuff. And I just was so heartbroken. I was like, how come you didn't tell me this? Like, why couldn't you just tell me? And I was like, I'm a prophetess. I'll never forget prophetess. I'm like sending her scripture that my mom's sending me because I don't even read the Bible. And I'm pissed. I blocked her. We're done. Like, that's it. And so for months after that, the enemy is sending me clients, client after client, Christian client after Christian client, like all this money. And it was just like, it was insane. And but the thing, and what I'm so thankful for, is she planted a seed, and it grew until months later I'm like, why am I feeling guilty? Why am I feeling anxious about to do a session? And then I saw Doreen Virtue, who I bought her angel card, I bought her books, I learned from her, completely say, the new age is from the enemy. I have gone to Jesus. I'm denouncing everything. Please throw out my books and my cards. And I was like, wait, what? Hold on. So I'm a little dumb. And I've always said this. I'm like, God, I'm dumb. Like, you need to like say it to my face. Like, you need to like send me someone. And he always has. So I prayed because I'm like, this is weird. Like, I don't like these feelings. And so I prayed and I was like, God, I'm going on a flight tomorrow to Vegas. I I need you to straight up tell me if what I'm doing is helping you or not, because I think I am. Like, I feel like you gave me these gifts, like I feel like I'm helping people, but maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. So just put a person on the seat next to me tomorrow and tell me, like, have them talk to me. And I was like, okay, amen, love you, bye. And went on this flight, and I'm like sitting here like reading a book, and all of a sudden I like feel this presence, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this person's here. And so I'm in the middle, my boyfriend's on the aisle, and the window's open. And this is like not a full flight, completely empty. And I like look up, and I'm like, and this guy's like, can I sit there? And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is him. This is who I prayed for. Oh my gosh, how do I talk to him? What am I going to do? And then I'm like, because I'm still hearing things, but it could have been God. I don't know. I'm like, he's going to pull out like a spiritual God book, and then I'm going to like talk to him. He sits down, he like pulls out, it's like reading the Bible through Western eyes. And I'm like, we haven't even taken off yet. And I'm like, hi, I'm Brianna. I prayed last night, and I think you're my person that I'm supposed to talk to. And he was like, okay. We talked from takeoff to landing. And I told him my whole story. I told him all my gifts, everything that I was doing in the name of God, what my mom was doing, the traumas, everything. And this guy just listened. He looked at me. He just listened. He didn't go, oh, you demonic freaking weirdo. Like, he didn't say anything. He just listened, and I was like, I just don't know what to do. And he goes, at the end of it, he goes, if you feel like you're truly helping Jesus, continue to do it. But if you don't. And it was just so simple. And he was just so kind and showed so much love that I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, all right, thanks. And we exchanged numbers, and like fast forward, he like lived in the town next to where we were moving in like a couple months. So I'm like, that's so weird. And when, hold on, I have a good part. And so I was like, thanks, and whatever. And that weekend I called my friend Sarah. I said, hey, you are right. I love you. Can we talk? And she took me to church. Oh, I'm going to start crying. Oh my God, I got to calm down. And she took me to church, and I got saved. I gave my life to God. And when I tell you, I was in the front row, like, I could feel these demonic attachments, like, leave my body, leave my brain, like just these strongholds and these thoughts that changed like just distorted my views. Like, I fully felt them flee in the name of Jesus. And I texted Troy, and I was like, hey, I got saved. Like, I did this, and I like flew home, and I threw out 2 bags of crystals and books and Reiki rods and this and that, and like threw it out, wrote a note like, don't touch this, it's evil, and like threw it out, and like just felt this weight just leave my shoulder. I didn't have any demonic dreams, no attacks, like no anxiety, and just like felt so free. And yeah, I gave my life to God. And then a couple months, I want to say like 6 months later, I went with Troy and I got baptized in like the next town over with him. And then I changed Self and Love to Blessed Holistic Life. And the way that just God has completely changed my life, that Jesus has changed my life, the people he's put in here, the opportunities, like everything. I'm so glad I went through it so I can tell others and I can be that light and that person that I needed. And so yeah, I'm just very thankful. Thank you, Jesus.
Wow, yeah, that is, I have like chills. I'm like tearing up a little. It's just, that is
I
so
know.
the power of Jesus.
Right?
And yeah, I talk a lot about like physical wellness here, but I think spiritual health is paramount. And I love your story. It's so beautiful. And it's also a good reminder, I think, to Christians, like, be that light, be that person for people, carry that light with you. Don't be the person that people don't feel like they can talk to. Be
Yeah.
an open, loving light that people can share with and that you can share with and be open about your story with as well. I mean, that's just so beautiful. And it just shows, I love how you're describing like feeling those attachments leaving you. I don't even think people
Oh.
always realize the spiritual weights that they're carrying until they're
Mm-mm.
gone. And that is just, I mean, when they're gone though, I mean, you feel so free. So that is just the power of the cross. It's so cool.
It is, and it's like you feel the Holy Spirit like fighting your battles for you, and it's like because I felt so many things. Like when I physically felt these like demons leave, I was like, hold on. So they've been hanging out with me this whole time. They're the ones whispering in my ear, and I'm thinking it's God when they're leading me down this path of destruction. And it's crazy because all these gifts that I had, they're gone. When I got saved, when I got baptized, I don't have this energy in my body anymore. I don't feel these things unless it is for the glory of God. That's it. Unless my discernment tells me for the Holy Spirit, for Jesus. I don't wake up with these dreams. I don't have these energy things. Like it was 24/7 of like feeling things in my hands, like just all this stuff. Like I don't have any of it anymore. And I'm like, if that doesn't tell people that that was and those were gifts from the enemy, I don't know what does.
Definitely, yeah. That is just so powerful and such like a tangible story that people can connect with, whether they're on one side of the spectrum or the other. I mean, it's beautiful. And I'm sure you feel this as well. I know something that I've really noticed and had to be conscientious of in the wellness world is like the line between health science and like health woo woo is very
Yeah.
sometimes it's very thin. And even like
Very.
certain things, for instance, everything has an electromagnetic field that is a physical
Mhm.
scientific thing, right? Like there's
Yep.
PET that's really good for detoxifying your cells. There are different frequencies in tech that aren't very good for us. There are different, I mean, God created everything. So like going
Yeah.
out and watching bees, let's say, like a good example is watching bees, the frequency at which they vibrate their wings is actually really good for our nervous systems and our immune
Mhm.
systems. But then there's also like the other end of it, where there's like frequencies that are manufactured to be like something spiritual. And so it can be hard. And
Yes.
that's just one example. But I know even just being kind of in the like the holistic wellness, biohacking, whatever world, there's optimizing my life. And then there's people who are trying to live forever. And it's like, it's hard to find.
Yes.
And I think what that comes down to, and I know that you can probably attest to it, is like, if you are a Christian trying to navigate like what's spiritually correct, what's not, where is that line? Know your Bible, know the context
Mhm.
of the scripture you're reading. Because like you were saying earlier, I think it's so easy for people to cherry pick scripture and distort it and turn it into
Mhm.
something that validates whatever they're doing. But if you
Yeah.
understand context and understand what you're reading, everything you need is laid out for you for spiritual health right there.
Yeah. No, it's so true. And you're right. Like there is such a kind of attack on the wellness space of like, hey, we know that if you clean up your temple, you're going to find Jesus because that's what happened to me. The cleaner I got, the more I was able to connect with him. And there is an attack on the wellness space because it's such a fine line. Like you see like these wellness influencers that all of a sudden are like, yeah, do mushrooms. And you're like, wait, what? Like it's just these things that are like, yeah, this is science. And you're like, okay, you don't even know. And so it's like the enemy's like last way to get you before the day he comes. And I feel
Mhm.
like I've even seen health and wellness influencers that like huge ones do angel cards and tarot cards on their stories and like share it. And I'm like, you are influencing so many people and you have no idea the seeds you're planting and what people are going to do with that. And I do believe, I'm not going to say what I'm going to say, but I do believe that a ton of people are waking up. And if anyone is curious, if anyone comes from the new age, do me a favor and look up on Instagram hashtag new age to Jesus. The stories, the revivals, the amount of people in the last 3 years who have come to God and Jesus from the new age, who have done Reiki, who have been mediums, is insane. It is like a revolution. And I'm like, guys, we know it's about time. Like, get ready. Like, if like things, people that you would never even think that were so far gone have found Jesus. So
That's so cool. I mean, no one's too far gone for the power of God,
no,
and it's
amen.
so evident. And honestly, sometimes those stories, like your story where you were so far in one direction and then so radically changed, those are the ones that impact people the most. And that shows
I
God uses
agree.
everything, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Your story will be used if you let it be used. And that
Yeah.
is so powerful. And I love it. I literally got chills as you're sharing your story. Like it's so good. Okay, so shifting a little bit, as we begin to wrap up a little bit, I would
Yeah.
love to know what your current wellness goals are and what you're doing to work on them.
Yeah. So current wellness goals are to get in the sauna more. I need to use my walker. I've been using my lymphatic shake machine. Um, I didn't realize like how much I'm not walking, working from home and on my phone. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, like my body, I feel a difference. Like I'm just having all this extra weight and this water weight. And so goals would to be goals are to use just get my lymphatic moving more. I work with some great lymphatic like clothing items. So I've been doing that and I can feel a difference. And so that's number one. Sun is number two. I dry brush every day, but I really need to like up it. More coffee enemas. And then just honestly to finish this parasite cleanse and like just take a break for a while. Like I feel like I'm detoxing too much. And so my body is like, I feel like I'm down to the last bit of parasites and then I'm like good for a while because whenever I start gaining weight, I'm like, something's off. And so, yeah, it would definitely be to finish my cleanse and just to relax a little bit and
I
get
love
back to
that.
feeling good. Yeah.
Yes, I love that. Okay, immediately ordering an enema after this. I am influenced.
I work with a brand. I'll send you it. It's all
Please
organic
do.
coffee. Yeah, I got you.
Please do. Yeah, you can consider me influenced. I've known for a while that I should be doing them, but then I'm like, I brought it up to my husband. We have one bath, and he's like, "Can you not?" And I'm like,
Right?
I think I need to, and I think you do too, though, Abe. I like make him do
Yeah.
all the crazy things,
Same.
but
Same. My
yeah.
man's like, what? Like he's walked in on me and I'm like, he's like, do you have an enema in? I'm like, yeah. Like
Don't worry
crazy.
about it.
You think so crazy? I'm like, okay. But then like he sees a difference too. Like when we were together, our first 3 months we gained 20 pounds each. Like it was bad. And he's lost so much weight. He always used to have really bad cholesterol and like just heart problems. He went to the doctor. It's perfect. And I'm like,
Wow.
see, healthy living.
For every type B man, there is an obsessive wellness girl
Oh my
leading the charge.
gosh. Right?
I
I'm
love
like,
it so
oh,
much. That's awesome. All right, well, can you please tell my audience where they can find you, plug all the sources, all the things? I know they're going to want to find you after this conversation.
yes. So you can find me on Blessed Holistic Life on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. I'd say Instagram is my best one. On my Instagram, you'll find my website, Blessed Holistic Life, where you can join the Parasite Cleanse and the blog. You'll also find, I call it my clean catalog. It's in my Instagram links. Everything that's clean and non toxic, from perfume to hair care to makeup to glow serum, is on this clean catalog. So I have everything linked for you. I've personally used it and I love it.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Brianna, for being on today's episode. I loved chatting with you. And for everyone else listening, thank you so much. And we will be talking to you soon.
Yay! Thank you so much for having me.